This will more than likely change nothing, but I need to say it anyway. I never wanted or intended to write this blog, but I'm stuck once again and have little sense of direction right now, even though I know exactly where I'd like to go. However, this is my reality, and I feel a need to share what I'm going through because after nearly 3 years now, things are not the way I'd hoped they would be, and perhaps there are others who feel the same way, and this might help them as well. But to those who fully understand the dire straits in which humanity finds itself right now, my message and work resonates loudly and deeply, and they recognize it as a true and viable plan to free humanity from our state of debt bondage and false reality. But for the rest, it seemingly falls on deaf ears, as if nothing is wrong in our world and their lives will continue, unhindered by what has been promised by our common enemy and is yet to come. For the better part of 4 years now, I have been living in a state of perpetual depression, despite the fact that I have been more productive in what I know is the most important work I have ever done and my true purpose in this life. The cold to lukewarm reception to all I have done continuously pushes me back into a depressed state of being over and over. And I get all sorts of advice on how to pull myself up, but no one truly understands what it's like to live with a level of empathy and care for others and our world that I have. I don't know how to turn it off, or I probably would have long ago. It's who I am. I care about everything much more than most, including my health, and it shows. All I know is that I don't see many others caring about much other than themselves, and I know where that is leading civilization. While thousands are hacking at the branches of evil, I continue to fruitlessly strike at the root. It's a lonely endeavor. But this quote from Audrey Hepburn, which serendipitously popped up on my Facebook feed last night, sums up why I do what I do. I look around the world and see so much injustice that it bothers me deeply every day of my life. And I fail to understand why it doesn't affect others the same way it affects me. Their children have no future worth living in if they don't take action to avert the path on which we're being driven surreptitiously against our will. Here's the quote. "Nothing is more important than empathy for another human being's suffering. Not a career, not wealth, not intelligence, certainly not status. We have to feel for one another if we're going to survive with dignity. And if we hope to not only survive with dignity, but thrive in a world for which we do feel for one another, things need to change drastically. Accepting the status quo as just the way things are and that we can do nothing to change it, so why bother, is the cancerous belief that is eating away at the life force of civilized society throughout the entire world. Everything is broken and operating out of balance with the natural order. My dedication and commitment to do something to better our world has cost me everything. I have virtually no family or friends. I am completely alone except for my dog and cats, who are the only thing that help to keep me sane these days. My money is gone and I haven't had a steady source of income since the onset of the international PSYOP initiated in March of 2020 to break the economic engine and put the masses in a state of even more compliance and submission than they had already accepted. It has cost me personally over $100,000 by now in lost income, home equity, and savings combined. Last month I was down to my last $100 to my name. Life is difficult when there is no joy, no money, no significant other, nothing to look forward to, and no light at the end of this long dark tunnel. This would obviously lead almost everyone to depression. Everywhere I look, society is crumbling. And knowing what I know from the extensive research I have done over the past nearly 16 years now, I know why it is crumbling, how it was orchestrated to create the ultimate Hegelian synthesis or solution to the manufactured problems and expected public reaction, but no one knows when that final trigger will be pulled. But we know it's coming, and still I see most doing nothing to stop it. We're being herded into a world of complete slavery, and I look around to see a population that simply doesn't give a flying fuck that we are headed that way. Gotta get in that next vacation or binge on that next series from your fave streaming services, right? Priorities are completely out of whack in this world. In fact, instead of caring about avoiding that dystopian nightmare, I see some of the oddest behavior I can imagine. I see people obsessing on telling everyone else that this will be our destiny, and there is nothing we can do to avoid it, so, just be prepared or forewarned so you can survive. But don't forget who told you first. But none of these people are doing a damn thing to figure out how we avert ending up in that scenario. Because by talking about it ad nauseum, you are in fact helping to build and manifest that world for the enemy. But nobody sees it that way. And therein lies the problem. Whereas I have been working for years on figuring out the Achilles heel of the predator class and creating a solution to offer humanity about how we do avoid this nightmarish future, others refuse to even consider that stopping it is even a remote possibility. Impossible, they say. The enemy is too powerful. There's no way to stop this from happening. But they fail to understand the incredible power of thought and intention, and that these very thoughts will ensure our demise. Yep, I've done videos about this as well, which have gone largely ignored, like everything else. I may as well be the tree that fell in the woods but nobody heard, so did it make any noise or not? Most days for me over the past few years have been either extremely productive or excruciatingly depressing and paralyzing. I don't even want to begin to think about the number of days I have laid in bed for hours after I should have gotten up because I just don't feel like anything I do will make any difference. It's like living on a roller coaster, nothing more than a string of endless days, some up, some down, with no end in sight. I feel like I'm living the plot of Groundhog Day over and over. Every time I pick myself up, spend hours, days, and sometimes weeks to create new content that just might unlock some minds to our reality and potential solutions, the lack of feedback kills the momentum I thought I would finally gain. Seeing the analytics on my videos, that the average view time is less than 6 minutes, makes me just want to throw in the towel every day and say, fuck it, at least I tried. Clearly, freedom means very little, if anything, to the majority. They have proven beyond any speculation that they are only concerned about being entertained in this culture of glorified ignorance, selfish entitlement, and instant gratification. But then I realize I will have to live in that future as well. So I usually just remove myself from thinking about this thankless and unpaid work for a few days or weeks before I find the motivation to continue once again. And that's frustrating in itself, because I want to help move the ball in the right direction, but the motivation continues to get obliterated over and over, thus hindering the positive momentum and progress every step of the way thus far. I feel we should be much farther along the path to our ultimate emancipation by now, but here we are, just stagnating in the white noise of the black-pilled naysayers. And then there are the petty critics who don't understand the big picture and continuously project their ignorant opinions into the mix, without realizing that their concerns have already been addressed and answered in the work and proposed solutions, but they have refused to look at it out of arrogance or apathy. I'm losing my faith in humanity, along with myself. I've tried harder than anyone I know out there to show how we get out of this mess, but almost no one wants to listen to understand. They don't understand the enemy or their tactics. They don't understand how long they have been working on this agenda, and they refuse to accept that there is one thing that they fear the most, and why they do everything in their power to keep us from realizing this fear and acting on it. Their greatest fear is that the masses finally realize the nature of their cage and that we have had the keys to escape it all along. And the keys are our numbers. This is why they operate under the modus operandi of divide and conquer. This is why they operate under the motto of order out of chaos. This is why they hijack the education system, the monetary system, the healthcare system, the economic system, and all governments of the world. They have wanted nothing more than to conquer us so as to completely control our lives in the New World Order they plan to fully implement in the very near future. Once we have descended into the complete chaos they have purposely orchestrated and beg them for whatever relief they will offer. The prison doors will slam shut forever at that point. Knowing that, why wouldn't we unite and take our power back? Because it seems impossible? Because it would actually require effort to do so? I'm at a complete loss as to what the fuck is wrong with people. I really am. Especially after the past 3 years and so many knowing how evil these people are and knowing what they have planned next. They just go on about their lives as if nothing happened, that the enemy is not planning their next assault on us and will just somehow quietly go away. We all know it's coming, and just as happened with the last psychological operation that shut down the entire world, the mindless masses will go along in lockstep with the next assault as well, believing that their mortal enemy is in fact their protector. The Stockholm Syndrome is overwhelmingly powerful in this pathetic world. But what if someone had actually sacrificed the last 16 years of their life to create a comprehensive solution to our collective problem? What if there was a way to unite and transition to a breakaway civilization that would render this one impotent and obsolete? What if there was a way to avoid all of the pain of the imminent financial collapse, which has been planned for generations to finally take all wealth and private ownership of anything away from the people? What if the solution were much more simple than anyone could possibly imagine? What if we could create an infinitely better way to manage society and the resources of our world? What if we would actually win this war and forge a completely different future than has been planned for us? What if we finally broke both the mental and physical chains of enslavement which have invisibly bound us for centuries? What if? The only cure for my depression is to finally see people wake up to the fact that we are all powerful and that our power comes in our ability to unite and work together in building a new reality and breaking free of this false one in which we're all currently trapped. As a saying which was beaten into our psyches for the entirety of 2020 goes, we are all in this together. The sad thing is, most don't have the ability to comprehend what exactly this is. To answer that, this is a false reality based in purely evil deception that relentlessly abuses humanity over and over ad infinitum until we finally stand up and say in unison, no more. I can never be fully happy in this world as it is. I can't pretend, like so many others, that things are not wrong and that everything will just be fine. Because they won't. History has proven that over and over, and we know the nature of the enemy, and that they will not stop until they have complete control over every aspect of our lives. Is that the world in which you want to live or have your children experience as they grow up? I would have thought not, but here we are. As Krishnamurti once said, it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And it's this profoundly sick society that's the true source of my depression. I don't want to build within it. I don't want anything to do with it. And as long as it remains, I will be in a state of perpetual depression. No need for drugs to numb the pain. The cure for all that ails humanity is to unite and break free of this insane construct en masse once and for all. Nothing short of that will suffice to fix anything of major importance in our world. Natural law shows us the way, and we have the Freedom Project 2020 as the blueprint and roadmap to create this new world. The rest is up to everyone else to do their small but vital and significant part in creating this new reality. Because no one person or even small groups of people can change our trajectory. We all must do our part to initiate the next great leap in human evolution if we ever hope to see it come to fruition and experience true freedom in our lifetime.